This makes it easier. This means I won't have as much flow.
Carrie Barron shows off how Surrey, BC is using water to fight water.
A heavy rain event, you'll see water coming above the bulrushes there, probably not to the fence, but close. And it'll just sit high in all these cells.
It then gets released gradually instead of flooding residential areas.
A couple parts of town, before we brought the pond in, I know large areas flooded. We brought some ponds in and we haven't seen flooding since in the 22 years I've been here.
It's part of the city's approach to natural drainage, using things like ponds and streams to help mitigate against flooding. About a third of the community of Surrey sits on a floodplain, so they've created a few dozen of these ponds to help with flood control. They're designed to mimic the natural flow of water, and it's something that researchers say more communities should consider. That's the conclusion of a new report sponsored by the Insurance Bureau of Canada. It says flood damage is already the most costly type of natural disaster in the country, and the problem is made worse because so many natural flood buffers like wetlands have been paved over.
If we continue on the path we are currently on, which is simply not retaining enough natural infrastructure, the costs of flooding in Canada are going to continue to rise.
Particularly because climate change means extreme weather events are more frequent and more severe. Experts say if communities work to restore their natural drainage systems, it can be much cheaper than the alternatives.
Instead of putting a big pipe that needs to be maintained over the years, it needs to be cleaned out, or a dike that needs to be continually upgraded and raised because it's constantly sinking, you have a natural system that's effectively looking after itself.
Now we design it more with some marshes and more vegetation.
And there are multiple benefits. The ponds in Surrey have become public spaces, drawing in people and wildlife, all while protecting against future floods. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Surrey.